introduce the if-else statement. So we go back to this piece here. So we will have the structure for the if-else statement, right? So we have if, and then we have Boolean expression. So if this is true, then execute this statement. Meaning runs, right? So execute means run. Else, so there may be times where if this doesn't run, we have a different statement that we want to run only if the expression is false. So then we have if else, right? So if true and if false, then statement executes or runs. So if we go back and look at the example we have right now, we can modify it. So we can go here, and instead of just not displaying this piece here, maybe we can say else print number is not even, right? Like something like that. Like we can display that, and then down here we can say else print number is not odd. So now we're giving more information to the end user instead of just hiding information. But we get to see that we can control the flow of our program. If result equals true, then print even. If it's not true, then we're like else number is not even. And if it's odd, then print this piece. It's not odd, meaning else, then number is not odd. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this piece here. So clear, and we run. We do the number 10. So notice here, even true. So this statement executed, this one did not. And then down here, this one did not display. However, this one did. So entry number 10. So 10 is even. Number is not odd, right? So 10 is not odd. And then we can run it again with number 11. So then is 11 even? False. So then jump to this piece else, print number is not even. Number is not even. We call is odd again, and then we get a new result. Is result true? Yes, then just display the word odd and the value of the result. So odd, true. And that's how we can control execution with else statements, right? So that's like a quick intro to the if else, but we can build up on it. Let me see, let me think. Any questions here? So notice here we didn't use the test case, right, for the if, but we were using Boolean expressions that are returned to us. So this even returns true or false, and then we were putting them in here to create a Boolean expression. Also for shortcut, you can just say result here, and Python understands that. Why? Why does it understand it? Because result is true or false already. From this piece here is even. So we go back here, even. So it's doing a Boolean expression here. So remainder, compare it to 0. That will return true or false. So we go back to main. This should run okay. So if we go ahead and run it, we say value 10. And notice this was the original one with result equals true. and then we modified it to just result, and that's okay, right? So sometimes that comes in handy. For this class, though, since it's an introductory class, I will, since this is the first example you see, I'll leave it as is. Questions here? Okay, no questions. So that was just a brief introduction to if-else. There's another structure that we need to be aware of, and that's the if-else elif, right? So those are like more complicated examples. Let me see here. Need to open a new window here. I think I'm missing an example. Let me go here real quick. I'm looking at my test bank on my examples from last semester, so let me just see. I think I'm missing one. Okay, let me check it. Okay, I have one more. So let's just do one from start to finish, since we had done is odd and is even before, but we'll do one here from start to finish. So we'll go to decisions, and we're still dealing with if else, okay? So we'll go here and we'll say def is overtime, and we expect some value, I guess hours. So then we can simply say return Boolean expression hours greater than 40. So hours greater than 40, overtime is true. Less than or equal to 40 false. So we can go to our test case first to check this piece here. So we'll go here. I guess while I'm here, like when you're writing test cases, all the test cases have to have the same indentation. Okay, if you don't do that, then your test code will not run. So make sure that all your test cases in the test file have the same indentation. Okay, otherwise you won't get full credit. Okay, so here we say test is overtime. And then we'll just do an assert, and we will get some maybe 3 values just to make sure that our code's gonna work. Okay, so is overtime. So if we work 40 hours, then that's not overtime, right? If we work exactly 40 hours, so this should be false. I need to include overtime here or import it. So I go hover, quick fix, add, and then this overtime is added for me here. Okay. So now it understands what this overtime is. Then I can come here, self.assert equal is overtime. So if I work 41 hours, then that should give me some overtime, right? So true. And then if I work like 30 hours, then that is not overtime. So maybe I need to put this one up here, right? So the numbers are in ascending order. Okay. Okay, so let me go here, clear. And let's run it. We can't run it from here, right? So run test and run. I just came from a C++ class, and in the C++ class I can do that. So let me see here. We have a failing test case from last week. It's this one. So I need to comment that piece out. That was just an example that I had. Run test. Okay, let me see here. Missing positional argument. Okay, let me see it. And yeah, see, definitely C++, because in C++ we use equals for the test cases. Here we have to use commas. Okay. So now go to run test and run it. And now everything's okay. So, but our main concern is overtime. This one right here. So its overtime is here, and to the far right, it's okay. So that piece of code we wrote is correct. Let's look at our function code. This is the Boolean expression in here. It's very common, like in programming, to do this, like is overtime, because chances are that we're going to use is overtime, this comparison maybe a couple of times in our program. And if we write it in a function, then we don't have to be repeating hours greater than 40 in different places, right? The goal there is whenever there's a change, we want to have one place where we change our function or our main code that does something, instead of like searching all of our program for hours greater than 40, right? That would not be good for us. Okay, so now we jump to main, and I guess we can keep number. This we can, let me see, I want to make sure, did I commit that? I don't remember. Intro to if statement. So the if else I didn't, right? So before I only changed that the main. So let me, yeah, okay. So let me commit. And I guess this is pretty good here, because sometimes like you're writing examples and you don't commit them, and then you're writing homework, and then you have a mix of files here. And the good thing here is that you can select which files you want to commit. So here I just want main. So I go here and then this plus sign. Pretty sure I've shown you this before, right? But it's always good to give you a reminder. And then comment intro to if else statement in main. Commit, that's all I've changed. And once I commit, I can push it, or I can sync. It's the same difference. Okay, so now I can blow up main, because I've already sent a copy of it to my repository. So I can eliminate this piece here. And then we have overtime equals decisions is overtime. And then we send the value we collect from keyboard. We are converting it to a number, int whole number. So our code will work and treat num as an arithmetic expression, which is what we want. And then here we'll just say if overtime, now we do not use equals true, because overtime is already true or false. So here we can just say if overtime, then print maybe you earned overtime or whatever. Else, no overtime. Okay, so here we have the if else, right? So if true, print this, else, print this. So let me clear down here. Clear. We go here. And we have enter a number. Number 40. No overtime. Up arrow, enter. 41. You earned overtime. And then finally some other value like 39. No overtime. Right. So very simple program, but it shows us how to use if else, and then we're getting more practice with Boolean expressions. Questions here?
So
I do have a. Oh, sorry. Go on.
okay, thank you. Sorry. For the statement if overtime, is that the only way we can write it, or do we have another option to write that statement if overtime?
You can write if overtime equals true.
Okay. Or false?
Depending on the use case, right? If false, if true, I think the recommendation is like if you're using if else, then maybe like do the true first and then else, right? Because if true.
Okay.
But if we did false, then we would have to swap statements. This would have to go over here and then this down here. But usually, like, we want to stick to convention, and the convention is true. Assume that we want to test for true first.
Okay.
And why can we do overtime? Because overtime is true or false. Why is overtime true or false? Because we have a Boolean expression here, and Boolean expressions always return true or false. So let's run it. Go here. Not that one. Main. Run it. So enter number 40. So notice overtime, this statement executes, it returns true or false. We display overtime, the value is false. So if overtime, so here we're saying if false, you earned overtime, right? Because this is Boolean variable, else no overtime, right? And then we do the opposite, enter a number, 39. Oops, maybe 41, right? So we can get overtime.
Yeah.
So true, you earned overtime, right? Nothing's keeping us from doing this, true, and we will still get the same result, right? So we go here and we do 40, false, right?
Yeah.
No overtime, and then we will do 41, true, you earned overtime. So if it's going to give us the same result, then maybe we save ourselves some lines and some typing, and then we just keep it to there. Because if you write code, someone has to eventually be the maintainer of that code. And
thank you.
That's why we strive for like writing fewer characters and fewer lines, right?
Hey, Art, real quick.
Yeah.
The overtime word on that page, can you go back to the decisions.py?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to see where you got that from.
Lines 29 and 30 down here.
30, yeah. Okay, see that. Okay, got it.
See, here's where we're doing hours greater than 40.
Does Python allow you to reference specific lines, or do you have to call the function that you're interested in using?
Yeah, we'll have to reference functions. And like if you start referencing lines, like what if the line number changes, right? So that's why they don't do that in programming. It's not
Okay, so
recommended.
it's just not advised, or it's not possible. I apologize. You froze when you started talking on my end.
Yeah, like what if the line number changes? I was asking.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why they don't do that. Yeah.
All
I
right,
mean,
thank you.
there's ways of doing that stuff, but I mean, we don't have to worry about that in this class. Any other questions? Let me see here. Okay, so I think hopefully that gives you a very good understanding of the if-else statement, right? So they work with Boolean expressions. Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of like when the teacher's explaining math, right? It's like, oh, everything's so easy, and then you're doing the homework, and then you're like, what? What's this or that? You know, so practice is what like will make you a better programmer. I still remember like struggling with this stuff when I was learning it, so I understand. So let me go here and I'll say if else overtime example. So go ahead and commit it. Yes. Okay. So we still have another conditional statement to review, and that's actually the case. Maybe popular one that I've always seen is like for letter grades, right? Like if grade greater than 90 and less than 100, then A. Else or else like 80 to 80, 89 blah, right, or whatever, so or less than 90. So we build branches but with a complex or compound Boolean expression. So we will do one of those. Hopefully that gives us good practice. Let me see here. Actually, we need all those files. So let me see here. So define get generation, and then we get some year. Okay, so and have the piece that I want here. So let me go here. The years is what I'm after, so just bear with me here. Fall. You'll see what I mean. If it would go faster. Okay, I have it here. Okay, so we want to create a function where we give a year and then it returns the generation, like the baby boomer generation, millennial, generation X. It'll return like the sequence of characters for us. So that's what we are shooting for. So we know we need some results. So we'll say results equals, we'll just start with blank. And we have to remember to return result. And then we can start building that piece. But before I can do that, let me stop here.